Okay, so guys, now let's start our if conditions. Okay, so this is your if 1.0. Okay, now how do we write the if? Suppose we have Excel score of one of the student, and then let's say there is a BI score of another student, Power BI, and there is a Python. Okay, let's say we have got here three scores. Now we want to mark a student pass. Student is pass if all subjects have greater than 70, otherwise fail. For example, this is what we have to do. So how are we going to write it? So you start the condition with the if. Okay, if x is greater than 70. Now if there is only one condition, you can just put the colon and you can press enter, and you can then say that if this is true, then what you want to do. It can be some calculation or it can be some print statement. Right now it is going to be a print statement. You must go and write the colon when the if function stops. Since we have to write the another conditions, so we go and write and you know why we are writing here and, because I want that the condition is a student uh, has to be scoring greater than 70 in every subject. So that's why we are not writing here or. So this is how we write it. Okay, now when I press enter, for example, this is how you're going to see the line. Okay, but you see this colon is pretty important here. I mean, right now you don't see any error, but when you go and execute, you will get the error here. So we write here the colon and then we say that pass. Okay, what if this condition is not true? If always works on two scenarios, guys. If it is true or if it is not, right? Same which happens in Excel also. Okay, now suppose then what I'm going to do, I'm going to write here else means that if this is not, then what? Well, then I want to actually print here the failed. I mean, this is how I want to go with this particular if condition. I hope this is pretty clear, right? So if I now go and run this, let me right click here and I just go and run this. Let's see that what is going to happen here. Okay, so you see that I get here some error, right? And the error is in the line number 10, and it says that else is an invalid syntax. Actually error is on the else, but the error is invalid syntax. Now I know the error, but I have deliberately did this so that you can understand this uh, function and you should not be repeating the same mistake. Now you see that the point is that when you're writing here, see the thing is that we are getting here the error in the else. You saw that, right? You saw that. Now the point is that, as I said, that if is going to use the colon, right? Same way, when you are actually writing else, you have to write here this colon. The moment I write here colon, you see else switches over here next to the if actually, and this print comes here. So they are aligned properly in the right indentation, right? Now if I try to run this, let's see that what is going to happen. You see that we got here answer as failed. So what happens? We understand now that colon is very important. Now one more thing, if you're coming from another programming language, you know that writing if conditions is never actually a challenging when it comes to giving the indentation. I mean, you can start from anywhere, right? Like for example, I can write here the print statement here also. Can I write it? That's the question. Is it going to create any problem? Let me run this. Okay, you see that it is failed. It says now indentation error. Indentation error means that you always have to make sure that when you're starting the print in the this area where the condition if it is true, without any extra space, the print has to go in the same way. They are to be aligned in the same way, right? From the left side of the screen, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, right? If you come from here 1, 2, 3, 4, so there are four spaces, right? So indentation is very important in if conditions. Now it is working. Okay, now does that mean that I cannot go and write in this way? I mean, is this okay? Because here also have indentation, here also have some space. No, this is not okay, because this print again then has to be starting, it has to start from the same, same level, same position. Now if you go and run this again, you will have a problem. It's not about space, it's more about that you put the right spaces, you align them properly, right? So either you move this in this way, or you move back, move this print back to the position where this print is written. But now they are both properly aligned, so I can run this. This is a rule, okay? So don't worry, you will get used to it. Okay, and now the good thing is, did you see that if I go and write here, let's say if I write here 4 equals to 4, right? Right? And then I go and say enter and print good. For example, I go and write here, right? Now, when I say else, so obviously else has to go here, right? So you can write here else and colon, automatically it shifts to the right position, and when you press enter, automatically Python, the idle, PyCharm will take you to the right position. You don't have to really struggle with this. So you go and write here bad, like this. Okay, but you see, now what I'm going to do, let me comment this. Now here also we did not put here the colon, right? So this is not going to be acceptable, as simple as that. Look at this. It is telling you the problem also. Line number 30. It is telling the problem that this is the problem, right? So I put here the colon, as simple as that. Now when I run this, we are done here. Okay, so this else, if what happens if I move this else a little bit here, let's say maybe, no, do this, let's run this, look at this. Now the problem is in the else. So you see, if and else are to be aligned in the same way, right, their location has to be same. Okay, so what happens if I put here 1 and 2 space bar, and what happens if I put here 2 space bar? Is this now going to work now? Okay, let's go and run this. Let me run this. See that this is the problem. Okay, this is the problem. Indentation error, again unexpected event. So again we have the indentation error. So please always remember these things. Okay, so let me put the backspace here. Okay, let's run this here. So you must go and start the if from where basically the line starts. Okay, yes, but one thing is that you can put here as many spaces in the section of else and the then area where the condition is going to be true. If they are aligned properly, right, they have the same number of spaces from the left side of the screen, well, it will not create any problem. Okay, and if you have noticed it, I'm not sure that when you go and write the if I start writing here, if let's say if if x is equals to y, for example, the moment you put the colon, automatically it gives some indentation. This I'll tell you, you can change, but by default in this PyCharm you get the 4 spaces, okay, by default, and I think which is good. You don't have to really change it. But if you want to say that the moment I write the if and I present that the indentation should be, let's say, 5 spaces from the left or 6, you can do that. That is very small thing, I'll tell you later. Okay, but by default this always takes you to the right position. Okay, but yes, if you go and start writing backspace and you start printing the things, then you know that you will get the error. Okay, so this is how we actually go and use the if. So else is when the condition fails, and here this is your basically then area, that if this is going to be true, then what? So if always uses the two things. What happens if the criteria is true? One criteria, more than one criteria, depending upon what you have written, and or. And if the condition true, then what you have to do. And if the condition is not true, then what you have to do. Okay, so basically in our if, this is what we have learned, that what if the condition is going to be met, right? Then what you want to do, and what if not. Okay, so we always use this in this way, the parameters.